Don't act all high and mighty over chicken feed. Even if my mother-in-law doesn't pay the mortgage, we've got plenty of money.
Yeah, well, if you're so proud of that, then stop paying it. But if you do, you'll have to leave. I have no intention of supporting a freeloader. Calling me a freeloader to my own face? I've had enough of this. Be my guest, I responded with a big smile. A month after leaving my eldest son's home, I was working in my room when I got a call from Josh. What's going on here? My name is Emma. I'm 78 years old. I lost my dear husband 10 years ago, and I've been living with my eldest son and his wife. They don't have children. Maybe because of that, they tend to buy whatever they want, without checking the price. While my husband was alive, things were okay, but after he passed, their spending got out of hand, and they ignored me when I cautioned them. One day, they decided to renovate the house. The house is old, and I thought it might be good to fix the plumbing, so I didn't oppose it. But then they kept adding more and more changes, and before I knew it, they planned a full-scale renovation. They wanted separate bathrooms, kitchens, essentially making it a duplex. I didn't think all that was necessary. Since we moved in, I've never seen Ava cook in the kitchen, and I do all the cleaning, every room, toilet, and bathroom. Even with 2 kitchens, I'd still be the one making meals, and I can't imagine them cleaning the bathrooms or toilets themselves. I shared my thoughts, but Ava insisted they'd handle household chores if we separated. I wondered why go through all this trouble and expense, but once they get an idea, they don't listen. Since I also plan to live here for a long time, I didn't want to hear any regrets about what we should have or could have done, so I agreed to make it a duplex. Now I won't have to listen to mother-in-law nitpicking. Living with parents is really bothersome. This will be less stressful. Even though I was nearby, they happily had that conversation between themselves. Finally, our 2-family home was complete. It felt spacious, especially because it was just me and my 3 children, and my eldest son and his wife who have no kids. Ava, my daughter-in-law, had claimed she'd handle housework and cooking. A week passed and she hadn't lifted a finger. Come mealtime, they'd both stroll downstairs, practically demanding, "Where's the food?" She didn't bother cleaning either. While I was cleaning downstairs, she'd say, "While you're at it, clean upstairs too." During this time, Ava would be online shopping, and I could only assume more deliveries were on the way. Then Josh, my eldest son, chimed in. "Mom, I'll cover the living expenses. You handle the mortgage." The house was in Josh's name, and due to his numerous additions to the home, the mortgage was a whopping $300,000. I write for a living, but covering the mortgage would devour almost all my income. Still, I didn't protest, partly because I had some savings, and also because I lived here too. I've been paying the mortgage, so my eldest son and his wife, Josh and Ava, could start saving a bit. But they just don't get it. All the money Josh makes goes straight to shopping sprees, not a dime saved. Josh works for a reputable company, but when I caution him about his reckless spending, he talks down to me. "Chill out, Mom. Unlike you, I actually make good money. I have more than enough." Ava, on the other hand, is a stay-at-home wife, but she leaves all the housework to me. She doesn't even bother to bring in the laundry. Just the other day, she told me it was raining and that I should bring in the laundry. She didn't lift a finger to help, just went back to her room.
When dinner gets delayed, all they say is, "Isn't dinner ready yet?" I'm starving, but offer no help. Honestly, it makes me wonder why we even decided to live as two families under one roof. I cook meals for three in the first floor kitchen, and they eat it in the first floor living room. They even use the first floor bathroom and toilet like it's no big deal. At this rate, the second floor is merely a place for them to sleep. It's such a waste. You know, we renovated this house. You're not using the second floor kitchen, toilet, or bathroom. Ava, you're at home all day. How about you start cooking, cleaning, and doing the laundry? But we're family. You're always home too, mother-in-law. Can't you just do it for us as well?
That's right, Mom. I'm the one paying for everything here. You don't get to complain.
Sure, Josh is covering living expenses, but I'm the one paying the mortgage every month. I work from home and I'm the one paying the mortgage. As soon as I say that, they laugh it off and counter.
You call that work? You don't make much. And the mortgage isn't even that big. You're making too big a deal out of it.
After being told such things, I lost the will to argue back. One day, my eldest son and his wife returned home with arms full of bags from luxury brands. When I asked them why they bought so much, they said, "It's our anniversary today, so we splurged and brought everything we wanted. It's something we always wanted to do. You know how you see rich people in movies and TV shows going on shopping sprees for high-end goods?"
We gotta treat ourselves and relieve stress once in a while.
They laughed joyously. But the idea of grown adults past 40 going on a shopping spree for stress relief or out of some movie-inspired dream seemed ridiculous to me. To me, their spending habits were outrageous. But no matter how much I warned them, they'd respond,
"It's my money that I've earned, so I can spend it however I like."
Ignoring my advice, despite me covering the home mortgage, they treated me as if I was an obstacle. The thought of living with these two indefinitely was increasingly unbearable. Previously, my second son and his wife offered to live with me, but they have two kids in junior high school who will soon be facing exams. I didn't want to be a burden. I have a stable income and savings. Even if I need care later in life, I believed I could manage without imposing on anyone, so I started preparing to live alone. Making that decision lightened my mood. I stopped caring about what my eldest son and his wife said. One day, as I was considering going out to buy appliances for my new home, I heard a crash in the kitchen. I rushed over to find Ava standing there, shards of a broken teacup shattered at her feet. "I accidentally dropped the cup while making tea. Mother-in-law, please clean this up," she commanded as if I were her maid. "If you broke it, you should be the one to clean it up." When I said that, Josh butted in from the side.
"Mom usually does the housework, so don't make a fuss over something so trivial. You're able to live here because of the money I bring in, you know?"
Ava nodded in agreement, but that should be my line. I pay the mortgage and do all the household chores, allowing them to shop recklessly. Didn't I tell you before, I'm the one paying the mortgage? Oh, please, don't brag about that chicken feed. Josh works at a prestigious company. Even if you stopped paying, we have plenty of money. Ava sneered.
"Yeah, if you're so great, try stopping the payments. But if you do, you'll have to move out. I have no intention of supporting someone useless,"
Josh added. Useless, he says? To his own mother? That was the last straw. I can't take it anymore. "Sure thing," I said with a wide smile. The feeling of floating on a cloud came over me when they finally asked me to move out. Time to take action. I stopped paying the mortgage as they asked, packed up my belongings within a week, and moved into an apartment I had rented. As I was leaving, Josh said,
Look, I'll forgive you if Mom apologizes.
Why should I have to apologize? No thanks, I'd rather not. Knowing I don't have to see your faces anymore makes me quite happy. Hon, don't come crawling back. Believe me, that day will never come. Take care, both of you. I left the house with a sense of freedom. Later, I called my second son and his wife to tell them that I had moved. They were concerned, but their kids offered that I could live with them. I thanked them, but I already had a new place, and to be honest, I was looking forward to living alone. Writing from home, living just for myself, it was something to look forward to. 1 month after moving out from my eldest son's house, the stress had disappeared and I was thoroughly enjoying my solo life. Then, one day while I was working in my apartment, I got a call from Josh.
Hey, what's going on?
What do you mean?
$2,500 was withdrawn for the mortgage.
And your point is?
What? There's no way the monthly mortgage shot up just because of a renovation.
Josh clearly underestimated the cost of a home loan. I was stunned. How could he not know this, with his good education and a job at a reputable company? Any renovation as extensive as the one they'd done couldn't be cheap. He never looked at prices and obviously thought my income was lower than it was. Probably assumed it was a manageable amount. Given the massive charges they wanted despite my objections, it's no surprise the total cost went up. So I told Josh the cost of the renovation and he said,
What? That much? How are you paying for it? There's no way you could afford that. Did you use Dad's insurance money or something?
You really think my income is that low?
What? It's a side hustle, right? You're probably making, what, $200 to $300 a month?
I make enough to pay the mortgage every month.
Wait, what?
I had never shared any details about my job or income with my eldest son and his wife. I assumed that if they knew, they'd expect me to cover all their living expenses and their frivolous spending would go through the roof. But I was surprised by the $200 to $300 a month estimation.
How can you pay the mortgage when it's that high and still cover living expenses?
You work for a renowned company with a good salary, don't you? Why not stop spending recklessly and live frugally? You'd manage.
We have credit card payments too.
Just sell off everything you've bought. You recently bought a ton of high-end brands, didn't you? Sell them, live frugally, and start paying off your debt.
Why bring this up now? And you're acting so high and mighty. Why didn't you say anything sooner?
I wish these grown adults would quit their tantrums. It's my eldest son and his wife who've been spending recklessly, not listening to anyone.
So, where are you living now, Mom? You're staying with my brothers, aren't you?
No, actually. I've rented an apartment and am living there by myself.
You've prepared for this all along, haven't you? You knew we'd end up like this.
You're the ones who said, move out. You also said, stop paying the mortgage. Now you're blaming me? At a loss for words, Josh finally said,
let's live together again.
After finally getting to live alone and relax, there's no way I'd move back in with you guys. Especially if it means I'd have to cover the mortgage and do all the housework again. No, thank you. Josh didn't have a response when I laid it all out like that. A few weeks later, this time a call came in from Ava. Mother-in-law, please come back home. The house feels so empty with just Josh and me. We really miss you. Her voice was unusually soft, almost whiny. I thought, why not just be honest instead of trying to manipulate me with such an obvious lie? Did Josh tell you about my job situation and how I'm not responsible for the house loan anymore? I have no plans to come back. You two should figure out how to cut costs. But it's too late for that. We've already maxed out our credit cards. Mother-in-law, you're living alone in a tiny space, aren't you? Why not move back in and be with us? I'm perfectly fine alone, thank you. I only have to cook for myself. I don't have to put up with complaints, and I'm living freely. If I moved back, I'd have to do chores and cooking for all three of us again. And let's not forget, I'd probably end up paying the house loan. I'll do the chores. We'll manage our part. You said the same thing before we renovated the house. I won't fall for that again. I ended the call right there. Even after that, my eldest son and his wife kept calling, but my stance was firm. I had no intention of going back. If I did, the same issues would just repeat. They were already eyeing my income and planning to use my money. Months passed, and Josh called with an increasingly desperate tone.
If you don't come back, we'll have to sell the renovated house.
To which I thought, well, go ahead and sell it then. That renovated house no longer contained any memories of my late husband. After I said, do as you wish, they eventually had to list the house because their debt kept piling up. I got an earful for not coming back, as if it was all my fault. However, they couldn't sell the house at their desired price. They had to significantly lower it to finally find a buyer. Even with the renovation, the house is pretty old and not in a great location, so it's not the kind of property that would sell high. After selling the house, it seems that my eldest son and his wife moved into a cramped apartment. Because they sold their previous home at a low price, they haven't finished paying off their mortgage yet. On top of that, they have credit card payments. Altogether, they have quite a bit of debt. You'd think they would both buckle down to pay off the debt little by little, but instead they argue every day, apparently all because of the debt. Their shared hobby used to be shopping to their heart's content, but now they can't afford to buy whatever they want without worrying about the cost. Despite that, they both have a shopping addiction and can't stop spending. They both shop in secret from each other, it seems. While each is okay with their own shopping sprees, they fight if the other one goes shopping. Josh argues that it's his hard-earned money, so it's only fair he gets to spend it. Ava counters by saying the money is not just Josh's, they're a married couple after all. Both are pushing for their own selfish needs. They're cut from the same cloth. Afterwards, Josh let his frustration at home spill over into work. He started yelling at his subordinates every day and ended up getting demoted. Ava still contacts me for help. When I ask what she does all day, it turns out she's not even trying to work. She's just lazing around at home. Usually, you'd think someone would try to work off their debt before asking for help. If you want my advice, it's this. Stop relying on others for everything and start taking action yourself. I sent Ava my final piece of advice. I can't say if my words made a difference, but I never heard from Ava again after that. I have no idea what became of those two. A year has passed since I left my eldest son's home. I continue to work and live a peaceful life alone. About a month ago, I got assigned to write a feature article on bakeries. In the process, I visited various bakeries and found myself falling in love with bread. Now I'm attending a bread-making class. The class attracts a diverse crowd, from people my age to younger folks in their 30s. Though we vary in age, we all share a love for bread, and that's usually what we end up talking about. We make bread together and relish the freshly baked loaves, engaging in pleasant conversation centered around bread. I find these moments incredibly fulfilling. My eldest son and his wife fill their lives with luxury items and spacious homes. Their endless shopping sprees have led them into a debt-filled life they're now struggling to escape, until they find something other than material possessions to fill their hearts, they'll never pay off their debts or break free from their current situation. For me, the true happiness lies not in luxury, but in making and enjoying bread with like-minded friends, savoring the mouth-watering aroma of freshly baked loaves.